This weekend, Ryan's back from the pickleball court, Andy's washing with power, and we tumble into early motion controls. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andy.
And this is Weekend Rental, episode 154. Back for another episode. In my sweltering basement right now, midsummer. My AC has failed me. I'm glistening for those watching the YouTube version of this. It's hot. It's hot in here without AC. How's your comfortable air-conditioned house?
I thought that was baby oil.
Well, you know,
over there.
it is Father's Day, so got a special treat. We're gonna role play later on. I was just getting prepared.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweaty podcaster.
Yeah, that's the role I play. The sweaty, exhausted podcaster. I'll stumble in after this. I got my leather on underneath my t-shirt here. It's gonna be great. So happy Father's Day to you, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. They'll be hearing this a few days late, but I'm sure everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
And doesn't regret procreating at all, you know. It never happens.
The one day that pays off, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Where they pretend to appreciate you. My son came out for dinner tonight and like wolfed it down and then was like, "Can I be done?" I'm like, okay. And he like ran back in to play Fortnite with his friends. It's like, man. Thanks, son. I can't blame him though. We were watching some TV, so nothing he was into. So
yeah,
I guess Father's Day or not, Fortnite takes precedent.
I suppose.
Yeah. We just got back from a camping trip, so kicked off. I've got like about 2 weeks off of work. We did the first 4 days down, I guess if you count today. Went camping, did some fishing. It was fun. We did the tent camping thing, which I hadn't done in a while because I swore it off. And I was like, I'm over this. Like, it's bullshit. It's too much work. We did it. And it is kind of bullshit. And it's still a lot of work, even when you try to make it easier. But we had a good time. It was a nice area. Went to Cross Lake, Minnesota. So it's kind of like north of Brainerd. So north of like Yuppieville, I guess, because Brainerd's sort of where like all the people with money from Minneapolis, St. Paul go to spend their money on Mega $1 Million, lake homes.
Yep.
One of the areas. But it's a little further north, so it's less.
It's where it's where the people from Brainerd
go. Right. But here's the thing:
they
is
go
like,
north.
Yeah, you could still tell this is where the money's at, and you could tell this is where the retired money is at, because we're in a town of like population 2,000, and we're waiting for the mini golf thing to open on Friday, right at like 10 a.m. So we're driving through town. There's a sign, City Park Dog Park. I'm like, all right, got the dog with us, got the kids with us. Let's go to the city park and the dog park, waste an hour. And you pull up to this inconsequential town with this massive city park, ice skating rink, same thing. Ice skating rink, hockey rink. Actually, not the same thing. They had a separate pond, which was kind of amazing. Dog park, 2 baseball diamonds, 4 tennis courts, a community center, and then a giant playground. And then I shit you not, I'm gonna say 10 pickleball courts. This is 9 o'clock on a Friday morning, and there is nothing but a sea of gray hairs occupying every fucking pickleball court. And there's a queue. There is a queue for retirees to play pickleball. I've never seen anything like it. There must have been 150 people out there. Just all like, so it was just like, holy crap. Like every retiree from the Minneapolis area has a lake cabin or is invested in like a retirement home in this small town. And like pickleball is the thing to do, I guess.
Yep.
I was just like, I've never seen anything like it. Like the queue just blew my mind.
That's
pickleball.
Do you think it was like league or something like that?
I don't even think so. I think it was like pickup games because people were just like showing up with rackets and shit.
Wow.
It was weird, man.
Huh.
And then my dog got out of the car and took a giant shit that we had to pick up, which is great. Luckily, my daughter's good at that. So Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a cool area. It was fun. Like the campsite we were at was like super well maintained. Like guys walking around with like fucking leaf blowers and rakes, like scraping stuff up all day. It was really weird. And then, everybody and their brother coming through with their like $1 million like wakeboard boats and like extravagant pontoons, like putting them
Yep.
in. It was really kind of entertaining watching it, but we just took it easy and chilled. And it's kind of like a crazy campsite because you're in nature, but you're right in their town too, like the small town. So it's like we didn't have to pack any supplies because we could just literally drive out of the site, which was right in the main drag. You could drive a block over, and then like you're at the grocery store. So
Really?
we went
Wow.
and bought our supplies for the day, and we're like, all right, good.
Huh.
But yeah, it was fun. Really cold though. The first night got to like 42 at night. So like my son woke up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he woke up freezing. So then the next day the mission was like we're gonna go to Dollar General and everyone's gonna buy an extra blanket and we're all wearing hoodies to bed and then we got like the second night we got like a late night neighbor who came in at like I don't know, like 9:30 to like set up camp and like the quiet hours of this place were like 10. So, we all go to bed at like 9 or whatever because we're all pooped. And I open my screen tent like 11:30. Like I wake up, I got to piss. This is like kind of a fancy place. So like they want you to go to like the porta potty. Like there's not really spots that you can just like go out in nature and pee and get away with it. But I'm like, I don't care. It's the middle of the night. So I open my like screen door and there's my new neighbor. And he's got a lantern going. It's like 11:30, just all lit up, his whole campsite. And there I am in my underwear, and he looks right at me. And I know he sees me. I'm like, fuck it. I gotta pee. Like, I don't care. Like, this is on you, buddy. You should be in bed. This is quiet hours. Like, this is what you get. So I just like stroll out and take a piss in the middle of I went around the corner, but yeah,
You didn't.
it was uncomfortable to say the least. Probably more so for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's camping.
I'm not meant for fancy camping. I'm meant for like backwoods camping, I think is more my style.
Yeah, from now on.
Yeah.
How many pickleball courts do they have? Pass.
Yeah. But it worked out good. We cut the camping one night short and just like headed to my parents' place because they're nearby because it was just like thunderstorms on the horizon, thunderstorms all night, wake up, thunderstorms the next day. So it's like
Yeah.
we can get the same vibe out of this if we just hang out all day and like don't camp here instead of like camping in a miserable night, waking up, packing everything up wet, which sucks because you gotta come home and like dry it all out. And so works out good. And then I got to see my dad for Father's Day and did some fishing this morning. Mostly my son fishing. I just kind of watched. I've had like I got like a northern rig on my line, and I'm too lazy to just like cut my line and change it. So like I'll do like 2 casts. If I don't catch anything, I'm like I'm done.
Yeah.
So he'll just fish for like panfish, and I just kind of watch because God forbid I change my lure for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't really work when like you're in the dock, I guess.
Yeah, and I got like that braided like 50-pound test, so it's like a bitch to cut anyway. So I'll just wait until the northerns are biting, I guess.
Yeah.
So how about you? What have you been up to?
Nothing that exciting, that's for sure.
Nothing as exciting as pickleball. Come on,
No.
pissing with your neighbor watching.
Nope.
Huh.
That would be something. Yeah, I'm surprised you just didn't go full frontal right at him.
Should have.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been still playing a lot of board games.
Still new ones, same ones.
Yeah, getting some new ones in. Target had a buy 2 get 1 free. How they do sometimes.
Yep.
So we picked up some there. We played one tonight called Lost Ruins of Arnak. It was the biggest board I've ever seen out of a board game. It's giant. It's kind of like an Indiana Jones theme type game. The box says it's 30 minutes times the amount of people playing.
Oof.
We had 3 people playing. I think it took us, it was over 3 hours for this game. It was It's wild. It's like 3 games in one. You're kind of doing a deck building thing. You're doing like a research tree, so you're trying to, do like the old civilization type of research tree.
Okay.
And then you're like exploring a board, putting, your guide different places to gather resources all at the same time. So it's just kind of like, well, which direction do you want to go to earn points? And then at the end of the game, the turns just get longer and longer because you have more stuff. And then at the end of the game, you're just trying to squeeze out every little thing that you can. It's like the last 2 minutes in basketball, where it just takes forever because it's just like you're just
Sure.
you're doing like 4 different actions to gain 1 point. It's just, that part I did not enjoy so much because it was, I think that last hour, it was just kind of worthless. It was a lot of wasted time just to gather little points here and there. But overall, it was pretty fun.
Who won?
It could be shorter. I did.
Okay.
So that's maybe why it was fun. But
I was gonna say that probably brought it back for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one was fun. I don't know when the next time we'll play that game though. Like, I don't know how you could be like, yeah, remember last time where we spent over 3 hours on this thing? Let's
add
whip
another
that
person
out
to make it 6 hours. It'll be
yeah,
great.
no kidding. Yeah.
Well, the first playthrough is always the longest, though, right?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
It is that. And then had my oldest play because he's kind of getting into that stuff, more advanced stuff. And but he's not quite to this point where he's still like watching everybody play. He's not really like, when it's not his turn, he's not actually trying to plan out his next move.
Sure.
So then when it's his turn, he's just like, oh, I don't know. And then he's got to spend so much time. But yeah, I want to see that game. I don't believe that you can do that game in 30 minutes per person. I think that box is lying to us.
Well, if they told you it was going to be like 4 hours, nobody would buy it, right?
Yep.
Surprised they even put the playtime on there. Like, it's fine.
Yep. Just play it.
Just do it.
Yeah. For Father's Day, I got a tabletop mat.
For?
It's pretty cool. It's basically just a huge
games.
Yeah, for board games. Yeah, just a huge mat you put on top of the table. It's like a giant mouse pad, basically.
Nice.
Yep.
Makes it more comfy for like setting up and moving characters, level playing field.
Yep. The like cards and stuff don't slide as much, and
Nice.
Kind of nice. Yep.
Now you're hardcore into it. Now you're gonna get like a big box to like carry all your games to your friend's place. And
Yep. Well, this thing comes in like a tube travel pack thing. It's like,
really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm trying to think the last time we played a board game. It's been a while. We bought a bunch of them during the pandemic. I was playing like crazy, but Fireball Island might be the last one, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they re-released that one, didn't they?
Yeah, we got it on clearance at Target, and like, God, it's not a very good game. Like, as much as like your childhood memory is like, yeah, it's like, no, this is kind of a shit.
I don't know if I've ever played it. Is it just kind of like move the spaces and shit happens type thing?
Yeah, and collect shit. Sometimes things happen. It's not that great, and like the molding, at least on the re-release, isn't like super great. It probably wasn't on the original either, but like things don't line up amazing. And I mean, it's fine. It goes quick, but
yep.
Yeah. Not what I was hoping for. 8-year-old me was disappointed.
Yeah. We I have another one I'll talk about later. That's as my pick, but that one we played quite a few more times. That one's a little bit more fun, but
I can talk about something that's not my pick.
Yeah.
Fast 10. Watched it. That's a movie.
What's the review?
Shit.
Oh.
I think it's the worst one in the series, probably.
Really?
Maybe like, I don't know. There's like between 4 and 6 I can't remember which ones are the worst ones, but this is a pretty bad movie because like it's not even a movie because he pitched it as like we're taking the 10th film and splitting it into two. So there's another one which I've heard
Oh,
he's
yeah.
now trying to get them to greenlight a third piece to it and break it out even further. But it sounds like domestically in the box office, this is done pretty terrible on like a $300 million budget. Like globally,
Really?
it's huge again. Not as good as the last one, but you basically watch 3 hours of what is half a movie, and then it ends without any resolution whatsoever. And they bring in Aquaman, and they kind of give him an origin story. It turns out Dom created Aquaman, which is really neat. Him and Paul Walker threw him off a bridge, and Aquaman was born, so that's cool. And I forget that actor's name, but he is completely out of place in this entire movie. I don't know if you watched that one movie he did for, was it Hulu or HBO Max or something? It was a recent one where it's like Little Nemo, where it's like a reimagining of Little Nemo kind of. And he plays a character in that's like a wolf man who's like a dream walker creature.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that's the character he plays in this movie.
Slumberland or whatever.
Yeah, Slumberland, but that's the same character in Fast X, which goes over about as well as you could imagine.
Just kind of like over the top, just like, yep.
Pigtails. He looks like the same wolf character. He's like super flamboyant. Also insane, I guess, for some reason. And then Fast X is very, very heavy on Dom, which Vin Diesel is the weakest character in all of these films by far, except maybe in his first movie. And then they just dive back into so many. They go back into so many like sub stories and like subplots, and like there's so many cast members in and out. It's like trying to remember who these people are and how they interconnect for someone who's seen it all is just mind boggling. And then I forget what happened, but at some point, I know in one of the movies, Dom impregnated a lady from like.
That was the one they were in like Brazil or something.
Yeah, right? Brazil, right? But she was clearly Caucasian. And Vin Diesel is also clearly Caucasian. But in this movie, his son is very black. And I just don't understand where the black came from two Caucasian people. Like, it's fine. I don't care. But let's not pretend that they both weren't Caucasian people. Like, that doesn't make a black kid.
Yeah, because she was blonde pretty much, right? I think.
Right.
I remember right. Yeah.
Right. Like, so even if they were both like slightly Hispanic and fair skinned, you still wouldn't end up with the son he has in this movie. So I was just like, because I kept looking at my wife, I was like, the lady he knocked up was white, right? And she's like, I don't remember, which is the right answer. Because you shouldn't, because it doesn't matter and it's stupid. But it's just really weird. And I just kept thinking, like, that's a black kid. That's not Vin Diesel's kid. And then his brother's back.
John Cena.
Yeah, but remember how John Cena was in the movie where he was playing his brother and he's like this super hardcore like badass guy? In this one, he's like a super goofy flamboyant like tinkerer who makes like rocket cars and kayaks that can fly. And at one point they escape a passenger commercial flight, he and Dom's son, by basically launching themselves out of a kayak that he's also converted into a glider. And here's how science works. So they're in a commercial jet and they need to escape. So they strap into this thing. And John Cena looks at Dom's son and says, well, guess what? We're too high to glide. We need propulsion. And I was like, that's not how gravity works. And then they proceed to dump vodka into a kayak and then fire up jet engines. I was like, nope. Like, you can still glide, sir. Like, that is not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're in outer space, gravity still has the same effect. So there was that. And then, yeah, it just all leads up to more and more ridiculous stunts, and the guy constantly one-upping him, and it ends at like an absolute like, I guess, cliffhanger moment. But at that point, you're 3 hours in, pretty bored, kind of over it, and then they just don't have any resolution. And I guess we're getting another one.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really hard to do because if they're making another one, those whole movies are just ramping up of stunts.
Yeah.
Till you get to an ending. So,
Yeah.
like, if you ramp up, how do you start the next movie? Do you just keep going up that ramp, or you start all over again?
Well, they're down the ramp because they're at the bottom of a dam, and that dam just blew up.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And scene.
Jeez.
That's the cliffhanger. So you waited 2 hours and 40 minutes to get to that. And then presumably everybody else is dead. But they're not, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
that would be nice. Like, call the herd. We got to make a smaller budget next time, so we're gonna kill off everybody.
It went so far bonkers. It just went so bad, and like this isn't even entertaining bad anymore in the way that like them poking fun at it in the movie was bad but somewhat kind of good last time. This is just kind of bad, like all the way around.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
at some point.
It's a lot of choreographed fight scenes too. Like there's still a bunch of car stuff, but it's a lot of like set piece, like beat the shit out of people, which is
really, yeah,
not something they've been like super heavy on, but like that was definitely like 50% of the movie here.
Huh.
Probably saves on car budget, you know.
Yeah. They'll have like that one scene where they're fighting and they're basically plowing through drywall and shit like that, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true. There's some good drywall scenes in this one too. It's almost like John Cena was like fell straight out of Peacemaker or whatever.
Oh sure.
And like that's the character he strolled in at.
Huh.
But yeah. I can't recommend it. Even if you've watched them all, like maybe just skip this one. I really hope they don't split the next thing into two. Like just do one more and like kick him out of Hollywood, please. Like he's done. I love like how Vin Diesel too, like anytime he's on screen and you see his like full torso, he's always walking with his arms out and his hands clenched. He's always like flexing like gorilla walking. It's so weird. It's not natural at all.
No, they have such tiny egos, you know, or such. Yeah, they have to make themselves so over the top in those movies.
Yeah,
wasn't between him and The Rock, there was like a big thing where about they both had to land the same number of punches.
Yeah,
like nobody could actually win in a fair way.
I know, like, yeah, there was a big thing because like he wouldn't come back. Like he like begged The Rock to come back. He's like, nah, fuck you, dude. So whatever. We'll get like 20 more Jumanji movies. So I guess it'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point, I might take more Jumanji movies over.
Yeah,
Fast
100%.
Right now.
You should. At least they got Jack Black.
Yeah.
Who is the one cameo? Oh, that. What's his name? It's not even a cameo, but what's the dipshit who dropped that SNL and fucked the Kardashian?
Pete Davidson?
Yeah. Pete Davidson's in this movie, so he's there.
He's in this movie?
Yeah, he's high.
Wow.
As I imagine. So yeah.
Huh.
It's good movie.
Yep.
Him and Aquaman really sealed the deal in this one.
Just keep at him. It's pretty much damn near SNL cast of action stars.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I saw there's a new Expendables coming out.
Uh-huh. Megan Fox for some reason. I saw that too. Half the cast from Fast series is in that thing, I think.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah. I thought it was dumb enough that they made one of those, and then the sequel like a year later. And the fact that it's been 8 years and we're now getting a fourth one, like,
yeah,
those people should all be dead.
Yeah, some of them are, I think.
Yeah, you gotta wonder why. Who's that for?
Yep. The same mold, though.
Yeah, 100%. Get a bunch of actors and things go boom, right?
Yep.
Key to success.
Yep. So I've finally watched something brand new. Just came out.
Oh.
It's this show on Disney Plus called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh. Did you check the date
Have
on
you
that?
have you seen this yet?
I feel like I watched it about a year ago.
Oh.
How was that for you?
It was cool seeing him back as that character.
In something that wasn't written horribly by George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not on a green screen. Although the ones there was a couple scenes that they had to make it like the old thing, which definitely looked like old green screen shit. But yeah, overall it was cool seeing him, but at the same time, like his accent was a little bit different.
Right.
He like I don't know what it was. He was trying too hard to make that accent, I think, that he did in those movies.
Yeah, 20 some years later.
Yeah. But also he's like not in the hello there, I'm joking around type mood anymore. You know, he's a hard grizzled. There's no time for jokes anymore.
Yeah, I think like his acting is the highlight.
Oh yeah.
The fact that like he actually gets to act in something that is like written well and not a prequel hunk of junk. Like it finally like kind of lets his character shine. It's just too bad the problem I had with it was like where it goes, right? Like we're filling the gaps between like where we left off and where we're ultimately getting to. So it felt like such a toss away thing for me. I think that's kind of where I kind of didn't care for it as much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of build up and there's some cool action scenes. And I think that was like, everybody wants to see that battle, but like, I don't even think that was enough for me to be like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, cause I ultimately still know how it ends in like another 20 years. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of Darth Vader in here is a lot more than I thought it would be. Especially when, the original movies, you don't think anything happened. You just assume that they didn't even see each other.
Right. Right.
Until, when they're on the Death Star again.
Yeah. And then here you find out it's this thing where they like sensed each other all along. And
yeah. I did like Kumail Nanjiani. Is that his name?
Oh,
the he's pretending to be a Jedi.
Yeah, the Weasley little guy. Yeah, he was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. The child was pretty good. What, like, why is there always a child in all these too? Isn't that weird? But good actress.
Yep. Yeah. And it does like it is funny how like the whole show is just the one plot point of like why in the first movie did Princess Leia go look for Obi-Wan? It's like, well, we made a 6-episode TV show about that one point.
So yeah, and here's the problem is like at no point in those movies did they acknowledge that they knew each other. Like there was never a hint. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. Like that kind of ruins it for me. It also like ruins the character for me quite a bit in the sense that like he once again had a chance to like finish the coming of like the apocalypse and he just failed to do so again.
Yep.
A couple of times in this thing. Like it doesn't bode well for Obi-Wan as like this like almighty, all-knowing teacher who like passes everything on to Luke. And then, but I guess Luke is a dud at the end of the day too. So maybe they're all just duds.
They all just like they're like tenured school teachers. They don't care after a while.
They love their walrus titty milk, and that's all you can do. At some point, that's life.
Yep.
It does get an extra like star because there's no titty milk. So there's that.
That is true. Yeah. I like the Inquisitor stuff that was in there because none of that has been in the other stuff, although it was in the Jedi game. That was like the main enemies that you fight in that game. So it was cool seeing them on a TV show.
Yeah. It had like, I mean, it had a great budget. It had good acting. It just it's so hard to make, I think, like a win out of like a story that like bookends two things that like you already know, and like, you know, it's a weird situation to be in, I think,
Oh
with a
yeah,
series like that. And
and the
then
amount
oh god.
I would just love to know the amount of money that like Liam Neeson got for showing up in 30 seconds in as a spirit ghost, and
He probably didn't even. They just like CG'd his face and was like a dummy.
yeah, or even Anakin for that one scene that wasn't very long either. You know.
Yeah. And didn't they bring what's his name back too as Darth Vader to like do the actual voice?
Yeah,
He's
which
done like
I it sounds too does not sound like an old man could do
sure.
that.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. I mean, I think they're getting another season. I don't know for sure, but yeah.
It would
I
be
didn't
interesting.
it's not like I I didn't love it. It's better than Book of Boba Fett. But I still think Mando and actually the other one is really good too. What am I forgetting? It starts with an A.
Andor.
Andor. Very good also.
That's
If you're a
that's
Star
the
Wars
one that
person
I'm
who likes Rogue One, because there's people that don't, and then you're not going to like Andor. But if you thought Rogue One was great, which I tend to think, then Andor is also great. So
I like Rogue One story in the movie. The characters kind of sucked, and this the main
you'll grow to
character
like him
in
more. I think
okay,
in Andor,
okay,
he gets fleshed out more.
that's good to hear because by the end of Rogue One, I don't even remember if I knew his name or like anything
Yeah,
about
and you well, I don't know that you're supposed to care, right? Because I think Rogue One is supposed to be like the Star Wars version of like storming Normandy. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yep,
supposed to be like a set piece of destruction. Like you're not supposed to get attached. You're just
yep.
supposed to like get caught up in like the overall consequence. So I think Andor kind of gives him. He's still a pretty. I don't know. Like I think he's intentionally supposed to be a closed off character, but you get to know him quite a bit better.
Okay,
I would watch that one. That one's really good.
yeah.
And
I'm interested in that one because it just seems like it's a lot less of just the mainline Star Wars stuff. Like
yeah,
there's, you know, it's
yeah, it's more like behind the trenches sort of thing. It's pretty good.
yeah.
And then you get to see what's his name in it. Schmiegel. I forget the actor's name. He's in it at some point, so that's always good. Oh gosh, this heat wave here is like gonna make me pass out. I'm trying to think what else I had going on. Oh, not much. I was trying to think like news or games I played, but I just caught my eye the other day that like Xbox finally announced that like they're officially no longer putting first party games in the Xbox One, which
Really.
it's like okay, it's been 3 years, so okay.
Yeah.
Like also you've put out like no first party games in
We're not putting
9 months.
first party games out at all.
Yeah, like jokes on you. So I guess we'll see what that means for Game Pass. It's going to take some of the value away from Game Pass, and I guess force people to like
Yeah.
consider a Series S to have a double console setup going forward. But
Which that new Series S seems like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
yeah,
Why
you're
would
gonna
somebody
up
pay $50 more?
for another
Right?
terabyte on the weaker system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not just do that to the main one? Why not do that to the main one and drop the price $50 on that?
Yeah. That's when
Take
you
the
really get
L,
people.
sell
Yep.
consoles, get your install base up.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that like you keep waiting for them to announce that they're discontinuing production of the S, and instead they're like doubling down. Like, no, this is like so. It's funny when you hear them say like, "Well, we're discontinuing the Xbox One." It's like, no, you're not. Like, that's just an Xbox One X. Like, you're still
Yep.
selling it. You're still
Yep.
developing games for it. Don't. We're not that stupid.
Yeah, I wonder if PlayStation's going to follow suit pretty soon then. Because PS4 still has a huge install base.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like yeah, we're Like this is going to be like an 8-year console run, right? Because really, I feel like PS5 hasn't even. I feel like this gen really hasn't started yet. We're
Mm-mm.
at least 2.5 years in.
Yep.
Because like the console availability was so sparse, the lack of like meaningful first party stuff. Starfield could be Starfield's going to be make or break, I think, for Xbox.
Yeah.
Starfield comes out and sucks and flops, and like I don't know what they have. I think they have a dead console in their hand, is what they have.
I watched that whole presentation about Starfield, and some of the stuff had me very excited and thought this might be the coolest game ever.
Yeah.
And some of it was like, this, I mean, this No Man's Sky did this,
Right.
already 5 years ago, whatever. So if it's some of that, I don't know, because it's all procedurally generated worlds, just like No Man's Sky, and it's got the same mining for shit and
Yeah.
scanning. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, certainly they're borrowing heavily from that. I guess I liked the humble brag where like Microsoft was like, if it launched today, this would be the least buggy Bethesda release ever. And it's like, well, that's a big sliding scale there. So
Yeah.
like what does least mean exactly? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Xbox is really in trouble this gen. I think they're on the right path. I think the cloud gaming and that stuff, but like they've completely lost sight of their brand. Like I don't think of a game franchise anymore and think Xbox, which I think is a problem.
They don't really have that. Yeah.
I
Even
mean, and
like what they
PlayStation
announced.
doesn't to some extent either, right? Like you don't just think like Final Fantasy and you're like play, like
Yeah.
it's just not a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that Series X is probably never going to get the game that it needs to like really show off its hardware, which sucks. Until maybe
Mhm.
it's my less powerful next gen console,
Yep.
then it will be like really,
Then it'll be.
yeah, I'll be prepared.
Yeah.
I'll be playing the less pretty version of the Gen 10. So I don't know.
Yeah. Even everything out of there wasn't anything that it was super. I mean, they have Forza and Starfield. That's it for this year.
Yeah.
So if Starfield does not make it, they are in huge trouble, I would say.
Yeah.
That has to launch this year.
Yep.
I did get that controller though. It's a sweet controller.
The Starfield one?
Yep.
Nice. I'm still on the lookout for that Zelda Pro controller for Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't committed to like buying it online, but I'm like, I'm gonna find it in a store one day. And yeah. That may never happen.
Yeah.
Unless I go to a pawn shop.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten a little bit farther in Zelda, not too much. Haven't gained any. I guess it did beat the Wind Temple.
Oh, nice.
So I'm done with that one. But
yeah, I haven't done any more temples. I've just done a whole bunch more shrines. I've been finding like new areas to unlock new shrines and like filling in that. So
do you have a thing that can see them or like sense them?
No, I know that it
just
exists,
looking?
but I haven't found that
Okay.
yet. So yeah, I've mostly just started relying on like nighttime, like going to towers and just like gliding in circles until I'm like, oh, there's a, because it's
Yeah.
like it's so much easier at night to like spot them. So been doing that, and then yeah, I maxed out my stamina. I played a little bit of the underground after you told me about the Tingle Island, so I went and got that hat from Wind Waker. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And immediately after getting it, the hands and the eyeballs came after me, and I was like,
Yep.
nope. And I teleported out of there. So
I did not like that area. That was a messed up pits and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I was beginning to think you like sent me on a goose chase because like I missed the one wall to like break out, like the blue wall, and I was like, I must have done something wrong, or maybe it's not for everybody. And then I found that, and yeah. So I mean, I'm still having a ton of fun. I'm probably at the point where I'm going to do another dungeon here soon
Hmm.
because I clearly have found areas where like I there's a power that I need to access and I don't have it.
Oh, sure.
So it's kind of where I'm at. I found Terrytown, so I started building my house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I did finish the Pirate Town. That was fun.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like, is it not the Gerudo? That's like the female tribe thing, right?
Hmm.
Like, can I just like kind of like say like what a perfect system that is? Like, if you're the Vo that like ends up landing one of those chicks, because like you have a kid with them, and if it's a girl, like that kid's with you till they're like 5, and then they just get raised by the village. Like it's like
Yep.
the perfect thing. Like you're barely even a parent. Like it's just all done for you. Like what a dream.
Yep. And if it's a boy, he's gonna be king. he's,
Yeah,
he's like the one guy
it's like
that's born.
win-win. Yeah, I was just like I was playing that, and like the guy's like, "Oh, my poor girl's gonna." I'm like, "Wow, this is like a weird setup." Like this woman came to you and just like wanted to produce offspring with you that you don't have to raise. Like, what is this?
Uh,
And what's her incentive to stay? That's the thing with like that whole thing was like, she's like, when she's like, I don't know if you got into that, but she's talking to the guy. And she's like, this is a whole new chapter of our lives too. I'm like, really? Like you guys raised a kid for like 5 years? Like that's it? Like, damn. Like I'm gonna be 55 before they're gone. Like it's kind of jealous. But it was kind of cool going to Terrytown and realizing that that was the president. Finally, I was like, oh,
oh,
like
sure.
here's who I've been hanging signs for. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. And it was fun discovering Terrytown because I didn't do that quest in Breath of the Wild, so I had no idea where Terrytown was.
Oh,
And when I
yeah.
got there, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this place. Like it was nothing except this
Yep.
wishing well, which is now the center of Terrytown.
Then you build it. Yep.
Yeah.
The first one, you build it all out. Yeah.
Yeah. I kept getting dicked though. There's like one of those deliver the crystals to the shrine things there. And there's like, have you been to Terrytown and
I
Tears
haven't
of the
gotten
Kingdom?
there yet.
Okay.
No.
So you gotta take this like contraption that like a I don't know, it's like I don't know what they call it, like a tram or something or trolley that like anyway, between the trolley thing and like building the things that I needed to get to the shrine, that crystal despawned on me like 4 fucking times.
No.
I got so pissed. And I'm sure it was just like random shit, like I was just a little too far away or like I walked just too far off screen to get a resource, but that drove me insane. It took what should have been like a 15-minute quest and turned it into like an hour and a half nightmare. So, but it's accomplished now. So there's that.
Yep. Then when you spend that much time in the back of your mind, they're like, I think I'm doing this the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. I did find a really cool shrine too that you've probably discovered because I think it's out in that Tingle area where it's like essentially battle bots. Like you just go into a.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is amazing.
Yep. That one's fun.
Took me a long time to beat it though, because I kept killing myself with the laser cannon thing. Like
Yep.
every time I blew myself up, like son of a. But yeah, that was pretty fun. Like a million ways to beat that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm continually impressed with the ingenuity in the shrines in that game.
Mm-hmm. That definitely is the bright spot.
Yeah.
Of that, because I mean, there's a lot of good shrines in the first one, but they're always based on the singular powers that you have.
Yes.
You know, so it's not mixing and matching all these different parts.
Or worst case, it was
does.
motion controlled, which was just a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
So there was like, yeah, I felt like there were shrines like in that first game that I like. It got to a point where like I was genuinely like nervous with the shrine. I was like, is this gonna be the thing that like ruins my day? And then, like, but you don't really run into that too often here. Like I genuinely enjoy pretty much all of them. Yeah.
I think there was maybe one or two that I was just been like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. And then you end up still beating it somehow. And then it's like, that was not the way it was supposed to happen.
Right. Yeah, you cheese it with like recall or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, have you played anything else outside of Zelda?
I picked up Super Mario Party. That was on a cheap sale. That was the first Mario Party that came out.
Okay,
on
that's
Switch.
one that was like can't play with Switch Lite because we gotta put switches together. Okay.
Yep. That one I gotta say is a lot better. I mean, the allies that you get, and
Yeah,
then the specialized dice, and I think the there's less money that you need for a star, so it's a little bit
it's
breezier, I would say, lighter.
still full of bullshit, but yeah, there's
Oh
some
yeah,
cool. It is the most streamlined version, I think, of the game for sure.
yep. My kid went last to first
As you do.
on the last turn. Yep, it was something to behold, of a computer just saying, "Nope, we're just going to give you stars." But
And now you guys didn't kill each other. You managed to get
no,
through a match. Okay,
no,
that's good.
no, it's fine. And then I picked up a pressure washer because I loved Pressure Washer Simulator so much that
And you want to get yourself ready
it's been my dream.
for the SpongeBob expansion.
Yeah, got to get my practice in. Yep.
Nice.
So got
Gas
a
powered or electric?
gas powered one. Yep.
Okay, nice. Not dicking around.
Yep. Pretty decently beefy. It's
Yeah.
got all the colored little nozzles, the same thing that are in the game. So I know what I'm doing now.
Okay. You can still take a finger off.
Sure.
A little different in
Yeah.
reality than it is in the
Yep.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many
Try.
gnome cracks have you cleaned? Like a lot of gnome buttholes and chair buttholes you've been cleaning out?
I have to get some gnomes first, I guess.
Okay.
I don't allow them on my property yet,
I'll
but
find you a filthy gnome and just drop it off on your doorstep one day.
I don't have like the spinning nozzle. I think the gnomes enjoy that one the most. So
So what have you been doing with this thing? Spraying your house off?
I don't know what
No,
the hell I want with
it was
it.
on sale or what? You're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, it was on pretty good sale, so I bought it. Yeah, I've just
Nice.
been doing the house and sidewalk and doing the deck a little bit here and there, but
It's nice for cleaning the car off too.
yeah,
Yeah, fun. Power tools are a good time.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Something you can't appreciate until like you're very much into adulting with children. Where you're like,
Yep.
these power tools are like the highlight of my day.
Yep. But then you also have to be like, kids, this is not a squirt gun.
Right.
You know?
This will cut you in half.
Yep.
It's not good. Well, that's cool. I've got a power gun attachment thing for my hose that runs off of like battery, but like I think it only gets like 50 psi, which is enough for like a general spritz, but you're not gonna like shear paint off of the side of a building, which is disappointing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you want that kind of pressure.
Yep. I think this is 3,200.
Damn.
So can do some decent stuff. My brother has one that's like giant. That thing really like it will take paint down to metal or like a car paint down to metal if you really want to.
That is nuts. At some point, it's too much power, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun though. Good tool pickup.
Yep.
Well, as I'm yawning from heat exhaustion and just overall old age, should we get to our staff picks?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear about yours because you said it tied into your whole board game thing.
Yeah. So if people are into board gaming, this is probably old news. This is a game called Dominion, which is a deck building game where if you're not familiar with deck building, it's kind of like you start with like 10 cards or something of a random thing. And there's like in Dominion anyway, there's gold that you can buy new cards where there's like 10 different types of cards out there and you can buy the cards that you want. So you're basically trying to find, combos and synergies between different things. And you keep playing through your deck over and over and over. Once you discard enough, then you flip it over and run through it again, and in this game, you're basically using money to get different actions that do different things with the ultimate goal of buying these cards that have points on them, which are land. You're basically trying to get the biggest amount of land. The interesting part about it is, though, the land that you buy becomes a card that you have to put in your deck, but you can't play it. So it just becomes like
Oh,
a worthless card.
so you
But
corner yourself a little bit by doing
yeah,
well.
so it's kind of like that risk reward where you're like, you kind of want to put off buying land because you don't want to have it take up spots in your deck,
Sure.
but you also need them to win the game. So
Huh.
it's interesting.
That sounds like a good one. A little bit of risk reward sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a one card where my son just enjoys to buy all the time called the Witch, which forces a curse card to go in everybody else's deck, which is just a worthless card. So yeah, I
So you
think the
have to go
game the
kick
other day,
something good and like take down this curse.
yeah, it's I think it's -1 point and it does nothing. So it's cons. I think I had 11 of them in my deck the other day. So it was like you're drawing cards and you can't do a damn thing. Plus you're looking at points that he took away from you. It's
Sneaky little
just
turd.
pretty bad. But then I found out it's one of the good strategies is trying to like actually like throw out some of the cards that are in your deck, even some that are, decently okay. Once you get more powerful stuff, you just want to have a really small deck with your best cards,
Okay. That makes sense.
because yeah. So there's a lot of strategies, I guess, but
Interesting.
it's kind of like Magic the Gathering, that type of game, but it's 10 cards that you learn basically.
So it's a little more approachable.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. Amanda loves it quite a bit. So we play. That's kind of the one that we've been going back to play a lot. So.
Which means that between now and the next time we have a podcast, she'll have learned how to like crush you without even
Oh
trying,
yeah,
and then
yeah. Then we'll be
you'll
like,
hate this
I don't
game.
even like that game.
Yeah,
I never even. I don't even know why I bought it.
she seems to have a knack for like destroying you at
Oh
card
yeah.
games and board games. So.
Yep.
Well, I'll expect an update.
Well, she destroyed me at a video game too. So,
Oh, that's too bad. What game was that?
uh, it's this Kirby game that we've been.
Oh, that we're going to be talking about. Okay, nice. Well, my. Did I call it staff picks? I think I did call it staff picks. Yeah, I didn't do the other name this time. My staff pick I'll just touch on quickly. It's just I think I talked about it when the first season aired, and that's that Paramount Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I think it's some of the best Star Trek out there by a long shot. And season 2 just started this week. They're doing one episode every Thursday. They're however many episodes this season. I'd assume like 10, 11. Came back pretty strong already. Characters are good. Storyline's good off the get go. So we'll see what happens. I'm expecting good things. It's if you slept on it, get caught up, then start season 2 because it's awesome.
Is it serialized like a continuing story, or is there kind of like old ones where it's like
it is? There's a continuing story, but they do a pretty good job of like, well, at least the first season did a pretty good job of. I mean, having through lines, but each episode was sort of like self-contained, which I appreciate. I kind of like that more. This first episode though was a lot of continuing, but they also introduced like a new threat, and it was pretty cool. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I'll see it in a couple of years. I'm sure. Be right caught up then.
Get access to a Plex server,
Yeah. Yep.
Somebody will have it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be someday. I want to get to it. I have to finish Supernatural.
Yeah, knock that out first. Yeah. How many seasons you got left?
I think we're in season 9 or 10 right now. So,
well, you're over the hump.
Yep.
Well, weekend rental time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So weekend rental, if you're not familiar, we play a game for a given system, and then we will give our opinion on whether we'd personally buy, rent, or burn that game. System this time is the Game Boy Color, thanks to the Nintendo Switch Online ever expanding list of games. And the game we're going to be playing is Kirby Tilt and Tumble, which, it's one of those motion sensing games. There were a number of them for Game Boys and Game Boy Advance. Having never played this on a Game Boy Color, I can only imagine that this game benefits greatly from the layout and weight balance and
Yep.
proportions of the Switch. I can't imagine trying to level this on the original hardware.
I can't imagine they did any work to that or any adjustment to that, right?
Right. I also can't imagine you could see the screen worth a damn on the original Game Boy Color. So I think this is probably the optimal way to play this game if I had to guess.
Yep.
I don't know. Think Kirby's Dream Course meets Kirby's Dream Land, I think is the best way to maybe describe this.
Or every freaking
put
the marble in the ball mobile game that you've ever seen,
Yeah. I will say for a concept where you're essentially so the whole basis is, Kirby's a ball and you're laying your Switch flat and you're using the motion controls to traverse around the world. They do a lot of interesting things. They introduce like jerking your controller to make him jump. They introduce like what essentially become like little shooter segments through a power up. They add like depth through pitfalls you can fall under, like go into an under layer of the levels and come back out. And there's also boss battles. So it's all a lot of
timing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of timing aspects in a motion control game.
But yeah. It's all done better than it should be. I think what happens here for me is like there's a lot of Kirby charm in it and it's fun to play. They make it easy and approachable. It's not too frustrating, especially like I said, given like the optimal hardware situation we have here. But at the end of the day, I think it falls prey to the same problem that all these games do. And it's that I'd rather just use my joystick to control the character.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. I mean, this is fun for a little while, but yeah, once you, my youngest or one of my younger sons, he could not wrap his head around, he's constantly, he'd move it a little bit and then he'd go right back to the joystick. Like it was, he just couldn't get a grip on the motion controls and he just relied on the joystick, which did nothing. But I found myself, I enjoyed the levels that were more contained and more puzzle-like and had the timing and had different aspects like that. As soon as you were like, oh no, you're on this small piece of land with no walls on it.
Yes.
Those were the sections I did not like.
Luckily on Switch Online, you have the rewind, right?
Yep.
And that saves it. Yeah, it also made me hate water levels in a whole new way.
Yep. I got to that, and that's where I was done.
Yeah, I thought going underwater was bad enough. Nope, there's worse. Just being on top of it can suck real bad. So
yeah. That's where I was saying Amanda bested me at this video game because I quit there. Yeah. Credit to her. She stuck it out and made it a couple levels in that. I don't know how, but
yeah, I didn't find those particularly fun.
No,
I don't know how far you got. I didn't beat the game. I got to the 4th world, or I beat the 4th world. Didn't beat going to the 5th. I don't know. I had fun with it. I think that's another problem is like it's all just sort of forgettable too. Like it's all cute. It all controls pretty well. It's entertaining enough, but it's also just it didn't have a draw to keep going, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot of incentive.
Yeah, that's true. Because like what you're collecting is stars. Like I never went out of my way to get any collectibles, I guess, or anything.
I didn't
either. Yeah. And the Switch is too touchy. I would like to see what this plays like on a Game Boy. I feel like it would be a good way to get carpal tunnel with you. I'm sure you're just like hunchbacked and like.
Like the visuals had to be incredibly hard to follow.
Yep.
When you're tilting it away from you and stuff. I just can't imagine. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how it plays with like the actual like old school accelerometer pieces that I'm sure were in that cartridge.
Yep.
It just seems
Yeah,
like the perfect game. Like this should have come out on the Game Boy Advance, like that Game Boy Advance layout. The old one without the flip, like the SP, would have been
mm-hmm.
optimal. But the Game Boy Color, like the weight balance of that,
They almost did. They were going to make a sequel to this for the GameCube that you used a Game Boy Advance as the
controller.
yeah,
How would that have worked?
through the link cable, I'm guessing. And there
Wow.
must have been some
Natively.
accelerometer cart or something for that. Yeah, I don't know. That would have been cool. I mean, the graphics that I saw were like 3D, so that would have been cool. But
Instead, we got Kirby's Air Red.
mm, yeah, we all forgot about that one.
The collectors haven't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a whole lot you can say about this game other than it's Marble Madness with Kirby, and he uses motion controls. I mean, what do you give it? You think on like the Byron Burn?
Uh I don't. I guess it was fun enough for a rent. I would say like the levels where you have to be on like a moving platform, or you fall off, or
Yeah,
you have to stay on a small skinny spot. There's just not enough. And maybe it's because I had my Joy Cons in like the little puppy dog controller thing, so they're
sure.
like really, really like close to each other. So maybe I don't know if that has any difference.
So you didn't actually have the Switch in hand doing this?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
no. I played it on. I played it on the TV with two
Interesting.
controllers, and maybe that
That
was the
might have been
problem
part of it
because
because I thought it was pretty tight.
okay,
After
that
I,
might be part of it.
yeah, after I had it undocked.
Okay, because I mean you're gonna lose some dexterity too because you're looking up one way and you're
Right.
you know just trying to figure it out with your hands, and they're not exactly cooperating sometimes. So yeah,
So
I think
Rent
I'm gonna
is.
go a rent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How
where I'm
about
gonna
you?
go to. Um, I didn't like it enough to buy it. I think it's overly simplistic. I think on original hardware, it would have been quite awful to play this and see it, unless you had a modified system.
Hmm.
I don't. I don't think it was bad. I think it's just at the end of the day, it turned out to be kind of forgettable for me.
Yeah.
It's just like it was a concept that I feel like they just slapped Kirby onto, and it could have been anything. And
A literal ball.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rent for me. It is what it is. It's a cool addition to Nintendo Switch Online. I hope they do more of this like
Yeah.
motion controlled stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean that's amazing the mileage they got out of just a character that they somehow designed as a ball.
yeah.
What they could do with that.
Hell, they even turned Mario into a ball for the
Yeah.
game. So.
We could yeah. Has there ever been just Kirby pinball? I don't know if
I think so. Maybe not. Gosh, let me Google.
might not be
Gotta be.
called that, but yeah.
There's probably levels. Kirby
Yeah.
Pinball on the Game Boy. Yeah, Kirby's Pinball Land. I thought there was. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
I
Okay.
remember the commercial for that. It was horrifying. Yeah.
There's a. I bet if you listed out every Kirby game, this would fall right in the middle. So
Mm-hmm. Or near the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of there's a lot of Kirby games that have even less meat on it than this one, I think. But
That's true. Yeah, he kind of gets hoovered around a lot.
yeah.
Although I feel like they're taking him more seriously these days. He's been selling pretty well with his recent stuff.
Mhm. Yep. Well, he was the savior in Super Mario or Super Smash Brothers.
That's right.
He was the only one.
Yeah. Can't forget the role of Kirby in that one. Brawl, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I'm melting. Should we call it an episode?
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it. We gotta get Ryan in front of a fan.
Desperate.
So we're going to call it here. You can reach out to us at weekendrentalpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter. Until next time, be kind. Rewind.